Hello everyone, Jo Banks here, and this is just a quick video to discuss the change curve. I've had so many clients contact me over the last week or so, obviously concerned about different things, their emotions and their behaviours have been all over the place, and they've been looking for answers as to why they may be feeling the way they are and why they're finding it difficult in such a challenging time. So I decided that if they're feeling like that, there must be a lot of people out there feeling like that too. So I thought I would pull this video together to help you understand what the change curve is. If you've already come across it before, this might be a good reminder. If you haven't, then this will give some clarity to perhaps why you're feeling the way you are, given what's going on in the world today. So a little bit about me, if you don't already know me. I am a coach, author, and leadership development trainer. I specialise in creating long-lasting behavioural change with my clients. I use techniques such as NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, EFT, and a whole host of other things. I use easy-to-use tools and techniques that really work, and I've worked with literally thousands of clients to help them make sense of their lives and to lead better, more productive lives. So let's have a look now at a bit of a background to the change curve. The change curve was actually created by a Swiss-American psychiatrist called Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. She researched the stages terminally ill patients experience once they've been given their diagnosis. She did lots of research and published her book on death and dying in 1969. And what she found was that there are actually 5 stages to grief or any major change. And it's widely now thought that there is a 6th stage, and I'll talk about the stages in the next slide. But the model was later expanded to include all forms of loss and change. So basically, no matter what the loss is, or no matter what the size of the change or what the change is, we can go through the same sorts of feelings and the same sorts of emotions. So looking at the change curve, we start off with shock and denial. Included in this can also be avoidance, confusion, shock, fear. They're the general emotions that we get when a big change occurs or when we first hear about a big change. Now, I know I actually experienced quite a bit of the denial in the beginning. I didn't think it was going to be a big deal. I didn't go and do crazy shopping like a lot of other people did, and I probably ignored it in the beginning to a greater or lesser degree. And that was kind of part of the denial phase within the change curve. So you might have experienced some of those feelings. So again, denial, avoidance, confusion, shock and fear are typically the first feelings and the first emotions we start to notice. Next comes anger. That can be coupled with frustration, irritation, anxiety. They're all typical emotions that we notice in stage 2 of the change curve. Next comes bargaining. This is where we're struggling to find meaning in what's going on. We tend to reach out at this point to others and we tell our stories to other people. We tend to think that it's only really happening to us, and we want everybody to know about how awful everything is for us and how we're feeling. So that tends to be the bargaining stage. After that, typically is depression or feelings of overwhelm or helplessness. Sometimes we can feel hostility to other people. And this is sometimes where the fight or flight comes in. So we can be experiencing quite a lot of different emotions as we're going through the depression stage as well. Now, it's quite important to note that at any one time, from day to day or even hour to hour, we can move up and down that change curve as things begin to happen and as things begin to unfold. The next stage, as we're starting to come out of this, is acceptance. And what comes with acceptance is when we start to really explore options. So we know now this is happening whether we like it or not, got to accept it, got to look at options, looking at any plans. What can we do? How can we find our way out of this? And this is really a stage where we get into much more action. Once we've completed this stage, then we're into moving on and into the future. So I think it's really important for you to notice that actually whatever feelings that are going on with you at the moment are entirely normal. So let's explore it in a little bit more detail. You may find, as I've already said, that you move back and forth on the change curve from day to day or hour to hour. That's completely natural. Some days you may feel worse than others, but some days you'll feel better. You will make progress as time goes on. There's just so much uncertainty at the moment that it's completely natural to feel what you're feeling. It's important also to notice that your family members might be at a different stage to you, given what's going on with them internally. But again, whatever emotions you're feeling or whatever emotions your family are feeling, they're completely normal. So what are some of the things that you can do to help yourself and your family move through the change curve more quickly? Well, obviously there's practicing self-care. Exercise is critical at this time, and it doesn't have to mean running for miles on end. It can be going for a walk in the outdoors. It can be doing some gardening. It can be even cleaning the house. It can be decorating. There are lots of different things that you can do in the house, in and around the house, that will count as exercise. There is keeping your brain occupied, and by that I don't mean Netflix binging. We call that a numbing activity, which is good for some of the time, but not all of the time. There are lots of things you can do: reading, gardening, jigsaws, writing. There's lots of stuff, crafting, great for the kids as well. There's also eating well and keeping your alcohol consumption down. There's also getting enough sleep. If we do these 4 things, not only do they increase our resilience, but they actually boost our immune system, which actually has to be top of our agenda at the moment. Then there's also controlling your thoughts and managing your emotions. I'm going to be talking a lot more about these things in upcoming videos. I just don't want to make this one longer than it needs to be. But actually, you control your thoughts. Every thought you have is not plopped in by a superhuman being. It's created by you. So if your thoughts aren't working for you, then stop, brush them away, and move on to something else. You can easily manage your thoughts and emotions by getting up and doing something else. Motion creates emotion. So the minute you notice yourself having thoughts that aren't serving you, and that's the most difficult part, noticing that you're having those thoughts, the minute you notice that, get up and go and do something else, even if it's just making a brew or making a phone call, or just do something different, and it will change your emotions. Other things that you can do to regulate your emotions and help you move through the change curve more quickly is to avoid obsessively watching the news. Only bad news sells, and by having your news on 24/7, it is just adding to paranoia, adding to negative emotions and feelings. So what I would say is, yes, absolutely keep abreast of what's going on, but limit the amount of news you take in on a daily basis, because not all of it is true. Avoid gossiping and listening to untruths. Donna from down the road, just because she says something's happened, doesn't make it true. Be selective about what you believe and what you don't. Limit your access to social media. Some of the things I've been seeing on social media lately, some of the untruths have just been absolutely unbelievable. The amount of scaremongering is crazy. So limit it and only take in bits that you think are important. Avoid doom mongers. There are some people out there that, even though this isn't really affecting them, love nothing more than actually scaremongering, than being negative. It just really feeds into their persona. So you have my absolute permission to avoid those people, or just say, look, I don't want to talk about that at the moment. Can we change the subject to something more positive? If they don't like it and you hurt their feelings, who cares? Let them crack on with themselves. Follow the government guidelines. Facts beat fiction. Whether you agree with the government advice or not, It's there for a reason. So my advice is follow what you're being asked to do. If you would like some personal coaching to help you through this period, I've decided to take on private clients as well as corporate, which I've never done before, because I want to help as many people as possible transition through this awful period as positively as possible. If you're interested in private coaching, please contact me at jo@jobanks.net. For more information on the services I provide and to read my blog, which covers these topics and lots of other ones, you can either get it at whatnextconsultancy.co.uk, which is my corporate website, or jobanks.net. You can also follow me on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Finally, I hope this has been helpful. Please like and share with anybody who you think might find it of interest, and tune in on whichever social media platform you prefer for more updates in the coming days and weeks. Until then, thanks for your time.